too warm or too cool, let me know, I'll adjust the thermostat. So finding a comfortable position to start class in. Take a moment and just notice how you're feeling today. Do you need to adjust anything or maybe sit a different way? Maybe you need to do a little adjusting and moving and squeezing until you can find a little bit of relief. Begin to let the jaw release. The shoulders begin to let go. Hips, legs begin to soften and release. Breath begins to deepen. Perhaps you're practicing Ujjayi breath, but maybe not. Whatever feels most comfortable to you. And if the eyes are closed, check in with the muscles in the eyelids and the face. Begin to relax the facial muscles. And if you are comfortable to follow along with a breathing meditation, we'll unite our breath, taking an inhale and exhale all the air out. Now inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Making a square, pausing across the top. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause, closing the square. So if that's something you'd like to visualize with your breath, inhale, pause, exhale, As we continue, if you'd like to take the breath longer, slower, or faster, shorter, but continue to breathe in that box pattern. Inhale when you're ready. Pausing when you're ready. And exhaling when you're ready. And again, pausing when you're ready. Continue for a few more breaths. Begin to finish up your last breath cycle. And as you finish your box breathing, just find your Ujjayi breath. On your next inhale, arms float up. Hinge forward as you exhale to find your compassionate fold. Pausing here. Relax the legs. Begin to tuck tailbone round through the spine. As you rise, walk the hands in, stacking the bones. And head floats up, leave the arms down. Send your shoulders down the back. Take note, whatever leg you have in front, just take note of it. And it doesn't matter what leg, bring one shin to front of mat, one shin to the side of mat. Good. Options to use your hands for support. You're just gonna get the hips mobile. Just roll across the glutes, side to side. Next option is no hands and using a little bit of core strength to roll. So you decide which one feels best to you right now. And so all you're doing is rolling across, so you'll face the side wall, roll across, face the front. Good, roll across. One more time. And then meet, so you face front again. We'll do the same thing, just shift opposite leg in front. And one shin to the side. And then roll across to the opposite glute. The knees are along for the ride. You have options, no hands or hands. Are you traveling off that? Yeah, you will. I've almost made it to the edge of my mat. Yeah. Next time you are in front, pause there. Then we'll sweep the legs around and come back into your seated position. Maybe it's hero's pose or Sukhasana, cross-legged, or something else. Take a moment, settle back in, relax the legs. Let your shoulders melt down the back. Return to your breath. Maybe finding a quiet space in your mind, or just practicing non-attachment to your thinking mind. On your next inhale, arms rise. Anjali Mudra as you exhale. And if you'd like to take a moment here to set an intention for your practice, please take a moment to be positive and present tense. And it could be for practice or for the day, or bring back something you started working on earlier this week or this morning. Positive and present. Taking a moment to breathe your thought in, and with each breath, know that it is true. On this inhale, arms rise. Hinge forward on your exhale to find your compassionate fold. Let the shoulders melt away from the ears, and the jaw softens again. Chin to tuck, tailbone round through the spine. Walk the hands in. And just coming to upright position, arms stay down. Good. Right leg now stays in front, or bring your right leg to the front. And you want a 90-degree bend in your knee. Left leg to the left side, a 90-degree bend in the knee. Good. Sitting up, just nice and tall. The left hip might float, that's okay. Maybe the left hip sinks. You decide what feels best on your knee and hip. Arms float up. Right hand comes down as far out as you're comfortable. Left hand over the top. Now noticing your shoulder, maybe palm down. Maybe it feels better for palm to be up. Maybe hand stacked straight up above the shoulder versus over the head. You just decide what feels okay on your shoulders. Now cartwheel to the opposite way. Hand can touch down on the shin or out on the mat. Opposite arm floats up. And again, decide what feels best with that arm. This is my hurt shoulder, so sometimes a bent elbow feels good for me. Both arms float up. Twist just a little bit. So you twist towards your right knee. Hands come down over the right knee, and they're down there for support. Press your left hip forward. So squeeze into the glutes and roll that hip forward. Maybe you could go a little deeper now into the pose. Stay active and keep pressing forward. If you're feeling any discomfort in the knees, you can flex the ankles. That'll help shift the bones so you have support. Good. And walk the hands back in, rise, and shift the legs around. Take a moment if you need to shake them out. The left leg, 90-degree bend, top of the mat, side of the mat to the right side, 90-degree bend. Right hip can be floating. Sit up nice and tall, arms float up. Left hand down as far out as you're comfortable. Right hand over the top, adjusting to find whatever feels good for your shoulder. Cartwheel to the opposite side. Hand can touch the shin, hand can touch the ground. Maybe you look up, maybe head is more neutral, maybe it feels better to look down. Both arms float up. Little twist, so you face the left knee, hands come down, spider walk out to compassionate edge as you activate right hip. Press the right hip forward. And stay strong. So you're pressing into the hands and you keep pressing the hip forward. Begin to rise. Come around onto all fours. So however you'd like to get there. Roll around onto all fours. Wrists underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. Toes can be curled if that's most comfortable to you, or you can be flat on your shoelaces. Starting with the tailbone, cow pose. Lift the tailbone, lower through the spine, lift the crown of the head, pause. Pressing the front body away from the mat, even though the spine is lowering down. On your next exhale, start with the tailbone. Tucking the tailbone, pressing back of the heart now up toward the ceiling as the chin tucks in. Now moving with each breath. As you inhale, cow pose. And as you exhale, cat pose. This can be a short breath, it can be a long breath. As you move, focus on heart center. Heart center in cow moves down and forward. Heart center in the back now moves up in cat pose. breath cycles. On your following inhalation, find neutral. Take your time getting there. Maybe you just started your last round, and maybe you're about ready to finish. As you find neutral, lengthen through the crown of the head. Let the chest lower down, and you kind of squeeze your shoulder blades together. Then press the chest away from the mat. Lower down and press. Good. So working on scapular retraction. Lower the chest down, press the chest away. Last one. Finding neutral. Slide your hands forward to shift your body into knee plank. Feel free to curl the toes if they are not curled. And just take a moment with your breath to shift your weight back and forward. As you do this move, start the breath a fraction of a moment before you shift forward or back, just depends, and then finish the movement and the breath at the same time. So it'll take a moment to get body and breath synced, and you're going at your pace. And don't focus too much on where the inhale versus the exhale is. It can be forward or back for inhale, vice versa for exhale. If you'd like to add on, and just each move has a breath, coming forward into knee plank, you can lift into full plank and then fold in half on your next breath for down dog. Then you'd lower to the knees on a breath, sink the hips to the heels on a breath, coming forward into knee plank or plank on a breath, and down dog. Again, trying to match end of the breath with end of the movement. Moving meditation is what we're doing. Just focusing on breath and movement. The next time you move into down dog, we'll pause there, and if you're not in down dog, find a spot where you can come up into down dog. Pressing down through the heels, lifting up through the sit bones. Pressing into the thumb side of the hands a little bit more. So the pointer finger, the heel of the thumb pad, but still also pressing into the pinky. Zip up the core. Lift the heels, lower the heels. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. One more breath. Pause, pressing the heels down. Now giving the arms a break. Open up into child's pose and either rest down in child's pose, maybe hips to heels, maybe hips stay lifted, stack hands, rest forehead. But you also might like to really release those arms back behind you, and you rest the arms on the legs and just release your shoulders here. If you need to wiggle the fingers or rotate the wrists. Take a moment to do whatever you need to do to help your body feel better. On your next inhalation, begin to find downward facing dog again. Taking a moment to make sure hands and feet are in proper position for your body, and so that's coming into a plank. And from plank, you lift and fold in half. Downward facing dog. Reset your down dog, lifting up through sit bones, belly pulls in, arm bones hug toward the ears as you press into the thumb sides of the hands a little bit more, and soften the center of the palms. Right leg floats up for three-legged dog. Tuck the knee, step through as many steps as you'd like. High runner's lunge. In high lunge, if you have blocks, feel free to use your blocks, raise up your floor, but you're gonna add a little movement. Just shift and move around. Back and forth, just straighten your front leg, shift to the side. And begin to find stillness. Lengthen out through the crown of the head. Lengthen out through the heel. You can be on finger pads, flat on palms or fists, on blocks or not on blocks. Adjusting your back foot for warrior one, 45 degrees. Root down, float the arms up, and press your feet outward. So you should feel your quadricep working a little bit. Finding your drishti point. And then turn inward. I'm going to bring my arms down to pointed parts of the body. Make sure the knee is not falling inward, so double check there. The knee does not have to be directly stacked on the ankle. It can be back a little bit, but it also can be stacked. Make sure it's not going forward past the toes. Arms lifting up through the sides of the body. If the elbows tend to bend, go wider. That's okay. I'm releasing my arms again. Your back leg, the heel is down. You're kind of rotating toward the front of the mat. Don't force, it's just that energy. And the back leg is very strong and active. Find your breath. Front of the rib cage pulling to the back. Pivot on your back foot. As your hands dive down to the instep, and toe heel your front foot out 2 times. Bring the hands shoulder width apart, using blocks if you'd like, for lizard lunge, high lizard lunge. Make sure the body isn't sinking down. You want to press the chest away from the mat without pressing up through the heart or back. Lower the back knee down. Uncurl your back foot. Still find length all the way through the crown of the head. We'll eventually go deeper into this pose, but right now, just take it slow. Good. Curl your back foot, lift into high lizard lunge, and step back to downward facing dog. Your ankles are extensions of your hips. Lift up through sit bones, draw the belly in, activate arms. Lengthen the backs of the legs. As we move into the left side, you kind of know, I'll be quick with instructions, and you kind of know what to do already, but then notice where your mind goes. And see if you can bring your mind to your quiet place or to non-attachment. Left leg floats up. Tuck and step through as many steps as you'd like for high runner's lunge. Find a little bit of movement here in high lunge. If you're resting on the finger pads, Make sure you're resting equally on each finger pad versus like pressing into a bottom knuckle and the fingers stay up on the tips of the fingers. Pause, lengthen through the spine, crown of the head. Send your shoulder blades down the back. Lengthen your back leg as straight as you can get it. Excellent, nice, good. Where's the mind? Find peace or find non-attachment. Warrior one, 45 with your back foot. Root down, press the feet out, rise. Feel your front quad working. Feel the back leg extending and activate through the glutes. Front of the ribs draw in and length through the arms. Find your drishti. Find your quiet space or non-attachment. Pivoting on the back foot, dive down to the instep as the hands touch down, toe heel out a couple of times until you can get your hands shoulder width apart for high lizard lunge. Lengthen through the spine, through the leg, pressing the front body away from the mat. And I also like to support but arm and shin of that front leg. I like to press the arm and shin together. Just makes me feel stronger. You can try that little trick. Lower the back knee down, uncurl the foot. Find length again through the spine, out the crown of the head. Send your shoulder blades down the back. Find your breath. Begin to rise. Coming into high lizard and downward facing dog. Feet or hips width apart. Lower down to the knees, lowering all the way to the heart. Arms come into goalpost position. Relax the legs. The legs can be wider than hip width if that's most comfortable. Starting with the nose, you lift the nose just slightly upward. Then begin to peel the spine up off the mat. Only lifting as high as you're comfortable and lowering back down on your exhale. Then the nose comes back to neutral. I like to pretend I'm pushing a marble with my nose, so I push the marble forward a little bit, and then it rolls away, so I can't push it anymore. That means I stop. And the head is in the proper place as I lift the spine, lower back down, and then you can grab that marble again and bring it back to neutral so you can roll it forward. Moving with your breath, it's an inhale as you rise, articulating the spine bone by bone. And exhale as you lower. As we do this, feel free to adjust the arms now. If you'd like a higher lift, you can adjust the arms. Things to think about are keep the legs relaxed. So check in. Did you activate your glutes? See if you can relax. Next thing, as you rise, do the shoulders shrug. You want the shoulder blades to stay down the back nice. You can always adjust the hands out wider. That helps keep the shoulders in place. One more time, as you rise, find your compassionate back bend or cobra pose. And we'll lower down. Take a moment, hands can float back, rest down by the legs. Hands can stack above the head so you can rest your forehead or chin there. And just relax. Relax the legs, the hips, the back. And begin to rise, curling the toes, the hands come by the heart, and you lift back up, meeting in downward facing dog. Take a moment to judge distance, plank pose, fold yourself in half. Press into thumb sides the hands. Activate the arms, zip up the core, lengthen through the backs of the legs, and find stillness. Find peace, find quiet, or non-attachment to thinking mind. Right leg floats up, inhale. As you exhale, tuck, step through, pause in high runner's lunge. Lengthen all the way through the crown of the head. Adjust back foot 90 degrees for warrior two. Draw the feet inward as you rise to activate your inner thighs. Same here on your front knee. Make sure it's not falling forward or back too much. Step directly above the ankle. Make sure the body isn't moving forward or back too much. Find center. Crown of the head stacked in between the sit bones. Beautiful. Nice. Find your focal point and find your breath. Notice the arms. The shoulders should relax, but the arms stretch out all the way through the fingers. Beautiful. Cartwheel down, bringing the hands to the instep. Make sure you pivot on your back foot. Toe heel out wide and bring hands shoulder width apart. Lengthen for high lizard. Lower the knee down, uncurl the foot. With your front foot, if you'd like to begin taking this a little deeper, rotate or roll out onto the pinky side of the foot. If you'd like, you don't have to, it's just the next option. Try not to lean over into that side. Stay square, lengthening forward, lengthening your knee back. That's going to keep the hips square. Lower the foot down. Lift into high lizard lunge and step into downward facing dog. Set up for strong down dog, lengthening the backs of the legs, strengthening the upper body and core, and pause. Left leg, three-legged dog. Stepping through to pause in high runner's lunge. Warrior two. Activate inner thighs. Rise. Double check, make sure you're centered. Check that front knee. Good. And then find meditation. Soften the shoulders, but lengthen through the arms all the way through the fingers. Beautiful. Begin to pivot. Hands come down to the instep. Toe heel out a couple of times. Bring the hands shoulder width apart. Lengthen to find high lizard lunge. Good. Lower the back knee. Feel free now to roll out onto that pinky side of the foot. But find length through the spine. Keeping the front body pressed away from the mat. Oh, uncurl the foot. Sorry, I forgot to do that. Find your breath. Notice, what's the mind doing? Where do did you go? Have you wandered? Are you attached to the wandering? Or have you let go of the wandering? Rolling the foot back down. High lizard lunge to downward facing dog. Lowering to the knees for child's pose or embryo pose, or a combination of the two. Beautiful, nice. Take a moment just to let go. Releasing the hands, maybe you need to wiggle the fingers, you need to rotate the wrists. Tuning into your breath. On this inhale, begin to rise. We'll stay on the sit bones, so bring the legs around, coming to the sit bones. Left leg can either be straight down the mat or bend that left leg going into Lord of the Fishes. So left knee, if the leg is bent, the left knee is straight out as if your leg was straight. Right leg over the top. Use your arms and hands to scoop up that right leg and find length through the spine. We're going to hold here before twisting. Send your shoulder blades down the back. Relax the neck, letting the head float to the ceiling. And tune into your breath. A steady inhalation and exhalation. Allow the tops of the shoulders to release. Good. The jaw softens, and the muscles in the face soften. And you're just noticing the sensations of the breath. Inhale and exhale. On an inhalation, begin to twist toward the raised knee. Adjusting your arms to aid in your twist, but still work on staying upright and your shoulders square. So if you have a shoulder that's higher, what do you physically in your body need to do to let that shoulder come down? Beautiful. Your back hand can aid and help press the body upward, or you can continue to hold onto the leg or hold the hands together. Coming back to the breath, focus on a deeper breath, especially on the inhalation part. Soften the jaw again. Keeping your steady breath, begin to notice the body and notice those little points in your body that you're holding on to stress. So for example, I was kind of curling my fingers, not even knowing it, especially my pinky fingers. You can relax, still holding the posture, but relaxing any tension. One more deep inhalation. As you exhale, come out of the pose, hands release and move down to opposite side, and bring the chest either all the way down to the mat or just a half bow. And rise. Excellent. Same posture, opposite leg. Take a moment and wiggle out your top leg. So that's the right leg. The right leg can be straight or bent at the bottom, and left leg over the top when you are ready. We'll pause in the upright position. Arms are doing the work, scooping up the left leg, bringing the heel in toward the hip on both feet if your knees are both bent. So finding length, finding your breath. Noticing the sensations of with your inhalation to exhalation. Begin to twist on an inhalation. Taking your time to get into your compassionate twist. As you find your pose, notice the body. You need to adjust, maybe lengthen through the spine a little bit more, lifting the ribs a little bit higher to help square off the shoulders. Focusing on a deep inhalation. Begin to notice those points where you're holding tension that you just aren't thinking about. As you find release in the pose, come back to focusing on your breath. On an exhalation, coming out of the pose, hands come down to the mat on the opposite side for either all the way down or just a half position, a half bow. Coming back up. Good. Undo the leg, shake out that left leg, and let's do a wide leg forward fold before moving down onto the back. So wide legs as wide as you're comfortable with. Start at the top by arching the back so you can feel the sit bones underneath your body. Keeping the sit bones down, walk the hands out until you find your compassionate edge. Now we haven't done hardly any inner thigh warming up, so it might not be as deep as you usually go. Once you find your compassionate edge, notice where you're holding on to tension. Is it the jaw, the eyes, the fingers, the toes, the hips? And see if you can release or breathe into those spaces. As you inhale, begin to rise. Assist legs up as needed. We'll come around, excuse me, and down onto the back. As you come down onto the back, take a moment for happy baby or tuck knees into the chest. Move if you'd like. You can rock from side to side, or in happy baby, you can extend a leg straight or both legs straight. Whatever feels good on your back, on your hips. option, if there is a final pose you'd like to do before Shavasana, begin to shift into that pose now. If you'd like to follow along for candle pose, bring the legs hips width apart. Begin to straighten the legs up toward the ceiling. The legs do not have to be straight, nor should they be locked out. A slight bend to the knees. Finding stillness in the toes and in the ankles. To the knees, and then the knees from the hips relax down, straight down, the head of the femur bone melting toward the mat. Perhaps arms are out in a V, a T, or goal post, or maybe you have a hand on the heart and a hand on the belly. Finding your meditative state of mind. Perhaps you'd like to picture white light or some kind of beautiful light that is emanating down on you, healing you, or if it's maybe targeting one specific spot in your body, your heart, your mind. Or maybe you'd like to picture a friend who needs this love, or a country, or a world. Free to stay in this meditation of white light. Feel free to stay in candle pose. Or maybe you'd like to begin to slowly bend the knee. And as the feet touch down, the body shifts into Shavasana. Perhaps releasing and letting go completely mind, body. There's always that option to stay with your meditation of white light. And the white light can shift. Maybe you'd like to bring some white light to you now, or to someone else, or somewhere else. finding a deep inhalation and perhaps a sigh with your exhalation. And with each exhalation, letting go of anything you're holding on to that no longer serves you or that has never served you. Excellent, beautiful. Begin to bring awareness into your body. Perhaps it's just little movements, wiggling the fingers or toes, or maybe you'd like to go into a stretch, or just roll to the fetal position and pause. Slowly begin to rise to find your seated posture, hero's pose or sukhasana, or just seated on the sit bones. Uniting our breath. As you inhale, arms float up, deep, energizing, full breath. Anjali Mudra at heart center as you exhale. Pausing here. Thank you so much for being here and trusting me to guide you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you, Facebook. And thank you, Paul.